Our top stories tonight. Members of a Gauteng community take matters into their own hands after an apparent drug overdose. The ANC's top brass is believed to be discussing whether or not President Jacob Zuma should go. Right, this is eNews Direct Weekend Edition. I'm Flo Ladwaba. A very good evening to you.
Hello from me, Jeffrey.
You can track our main stories tonight using the following hashtags: hashtag ANC NEC and hashtag ANC Veterans.
And you can comment on any of our stories by following us on Facebook and Twitter at eNews Direct, or check our content on our website at enca.com/direct.
All right, but first we start with this. Anger over rampant drug dealing is boiling over in a Houghton community. Ivory Park residents east of Johannesburg say the situation has reached crisis level, with locals turning against each other. A man died of a suspected drug overdose in the area this morning. Gauteng police are calling on anyone with evidence of police colluding with drug dealers to come forward.
A suspected drug dealer's home is destroyed after the death of a 27-year-old man who's suspected of overdosing on the drug Nyaope. This has angered residents who say the drug problem in the area has reached crisis levels. The father of the suspected dealer says his child is not welcome here anymore. Some parents say they are living in fear of locals who accuse their children of dealing. Locals say residents are turning on each other and authorities are doing nothing. Community leaders believe the situation has reached boiling point.
The community has lost even the patience through the police, because the police are not helping in any way. Firstly, the police are the ones who are working with the drug dealers around our community. They take bribes from these drug dealers. Again, they give tip-offs to these guys when there are operations.
As this community vows to deal with the drug problem themselves, police say residents with evidence of officers working with drug dealers must report it. Malungelo Boy, Ivory Park.
Well, the ANC's National Executive Committee is believed to be deciding President Jacob Zuma's future. Insiders say a motion for him to resign was tabled by Tourism Minister Derek Hanekom yesterday. ENCA reporter Nicholas Bauer is in Irene outside Pretoria, where ANC leaders are holding talks. Let's cross live to him. Good evening to you, Nicholas. We know that the Tourism Minister tabled a motion for the President to resign and that a recall is being discussed. Those two issues surely leading today's agenda. But what else can you tell us, Nick?
Well, the fact of the matter is, Flo, is that we simply just don't know what's going on inside this critical National Executive Committee meeting. But the fact of the matter is that President Jacob Zuma's recall being discussed openly within this senior structure of the ANC, indeed the highest decision-making body between elective conferences, is historic and monumental. Indeed, insiders are saying that Tourism Minister Derek Hanekom proposed this motion yesterday. It was seconded by another NEC member, and it has been discussed since then. Another fact that this meeting has continued throughout the day and into the evening shows that the debate has undoubtedly been fierce and drawn out. But at this point in time, we simply don't have any information as to what happens next. And indeed, South Africa waiting with bated breath to hear on the future of President Jacob Zuma.
Perhaps, Nick, you can tell us which of the ANC bigwigs you've seen going into these talks today.
Well, just behind me here, we've been ushered away from the entrance to St. George's Hotel where this meeting is taking place. And there's been little to no movement throughout the day. We've just seen one government car with two police cars leave about 5 minutes ago. Certainly not big enough to be the presidential cavalcade. We couldn't identify what we expect to be a government minister, which one indeed it was that left. But what we were hearing yesterday is that The majority of NEC members that could be seen to be in the Zuma camp were not present when this debate started, and they were flown in from all over the country yesterday to join this NEC meeting, and that the debate has been extremely fierce ever since then. And the fact, once again, I must repeat, that this meeting is still ongoing, showing that perhaps President Jacob Zuma is fighting for his political life, and his allies within the NEC are trying to state their case. Well, indeed, those that are aligned with the idea espoused by Tourism Minister Derek Hanekom when he proposed this motion, also fighting tooth and nail, I'm sure.
Nicholas, many thanks. That's ENCA reporter Nicholas Bau, who's in Irene, where the ANC's National Executive Committee is believed to be deciding on President Jacob Zuma's future. Well, some Umkhonto weSizwe military veterans say they've lost faith in the wing's leader. They say Kebi Maphatso's views don't represent the organization. Maphatso is a staunch supporter of President Jacob Zuma. He recently drew sharp criticism for calling a group of ANC veterans empty tins without struggle credentials. A group of MK veterans met in Johannesburg today to defend the legacy of the MK and the ANC. The governing party's military wing was disbanded in 1993.
Let us engage and come with a concrete resolutions so that we can just be able to move forward and save ourselves from this sinking ship.
A group of MK veterans expressing themselves without fear or favor. Former Umkhonto weSizwe members are no longer holding back. They are frustrated by the association's current chair, KP Maphatso.
He has been quoted in newspapers saying all sorts of things which we feel do not represent us as MK veterans, uttering statements like the veterans that have been meeting with the ANC leadership, the National Working Committee of the ANC, calling them that they are empty tins, people with no struggle credentials.
These MK veterans say they are no longer scared of being subjected to disciplinary processes for speaking out.
This is part of the initiative that want to give members of MK the voice. Want to make sure that if you've got your problems, you can come to us and we're going to be there for you. There's nobody who's prepared to talk for us. There's nobody who's prepared to fight for us. We're professional beggars.
MK vets here say they are inspired by Ahmed Katrada, Andrew Mlangeni and others who have spoken out against the crisis facing the ANC. Another massive gathering is set for December 16th, where former MK cadres will meet to chart a way forward. Despite several attempts to contact Maphatso, he could not be reached. Kailihle Khumalo, Johannesburg.
A former police officer claims that the Hawks have asked him to incriminate the head of the Independent Police Investigative Directorate. ENCA is in possession of an affidavit filed by the officer, but the Hawks have denied claims that they're trying to frame Robert McBride. McBride has been at odds with his police bosses since his suspension last year, which was later overturned.
A former police officer says he was told to make up evidence against IPID head Robert McBride for a criminal case against him. The man claims a police superior told him they wanted to get rid of McBride by any means possible. Recordings he made of some of the calls suggest that the order came from Police Minister Nathi Nhleko.
Ek gaan nie kom oor hierdie storie nie, nee. Nee. Want van wie af is die opdragte gegee, weet kolonel?
Dit kom van die valke af.
Van die valke self af?
Ja.
Okay, so hulle opdragte gekry?
Ja, die opdragte kom van die minister af.
Okay.
But the minister's spokesperson has denied the claims and says he values the independence of the Hawks.
It would be improper for the minister to even suggest to any investigator to start investigations against somebody. It would be improper. He would be breaking the law. So he has not done this.
The Hawks have questioned the legitimacy of the recordings, saying they aim to drive a wedge between it and IPID.
Now the Hawks, the institution itself, has been targeted, and we don't know where these things are coming from. We have seen it with the National Commissioner as well during the week. And this is some of the things that we know that something happens from the Hawks, then the National Commissioner will also be thrown in. It's unfair.
McBride says the latest revelations add to the ongoing attacks against him.
That case has got nothing to do with me, and they can try and do whatever they want to. Smoke and mirrors cannot change the truth.
McBride says he will be seeking legal advice in the coming week. Teresa Taylor, Johannesburg.
Well, Public Protector Busisiwe Mkhwebane has reportedly laid criminal charges against her predecessor, Thuli Madonsela. A Sunday Times report says the charges are linked to a leaked audio recording of an interview between Madonsela and President Jacob Zuma. The interview formed part of her state capture probe. The former Public Protector admitted to giving ENCA the recording shortly after the release of the State of Capture report. She said she did so to disprove Zuma's claim that he didn't have an opportunity to give his side of the story. According to the report, Mkhwebane says Madonsela's actions contravened the Public Protector Act. The Public Protector hasn't been available for comment. Right, to news now making international headlines. Angolans have remembered Fidel Castro's contribution to the country's liberation. The former Cuban leader died yesterday. Some Angolans are calling him a son of Africa. Castro sent troops to the southern African country in the 1970s. They helped MPLA fighters during the Angolan Civil War. Cuba supported a number of African countries in their struggle for freedom. Angola's ruling party has likened Castro to icons like Nelson Mandela. Hillary Clinton's campaign has announced it will take part in the recount of U.S. presidential election votes in Wisconsin. A Green Party candidate, Jill Stein, initiated the recount. There have been allegations of computer hacking, which may have rigged the November 8th election. The key battleground states of Pennsylvania and Michigan will also have a recount. President-elect Donald Trump says the recounts are ridiculous. He claims to have won all three states by wide margins. And Chinese rescue workers have freed a child from the drum of a washing machine. Firefighters rushed to the girl's home after receiving an emergency call. They had to dismantle the machine and remove the drum to get her out. The 2-year-old was shaken but unscathed. It's not clear how she climbed into the washing machine. South African stand-up comedian Loyiso Gola becomes an online sensation. Do stay with us.
Take it away, my man.
Welcome back. Stand-up comedian Loyiso Gola is back on home soil after performing in New York. His comedy special recently premiered on an online video streaming site. Let's take a look at what the funny man's been up to.
Mr. Amrio City was on a roll and he could not be stopped. Take it away, my man.
You've seen him on South African television and on stage. Now he takes his comedy to New York, presenting the first ever comedy show on an online video site. Vimeo, Loyiso Gola live in New York.
How it came about is I did some open spots in New York and someone from Vimeo saw it and they wanted to do something, but Vimeo wasn't a comedy platform. In fact, my comedy special is the first one on Vimeo ever. They've never done comedy.
Known for his unapologetic views, Gola had something to say about the president.
Jacob Zuma didn't lie about the Guptas. He brought them with him. He never said, these are my new friends. He didn't start mispronouncing numbers. He was mispronouncing numbers and being a rocker. He was crazy. He was facing 763 charges before he got elected. So now when the guy is elected, we are surprised. No, he didn't hide anything. He said, I've got a standard 3, this. Would you like me to be the president? The people said yes. Now he's the president. What did you expect? I don't understand. So I want him to finish his term and I want him to do as much damage as possible so that people learn that you don't just elect willy-nilly.
On the Doom Prophet, he had this to say.
I mean, I don't understand. Why you guys like to blow things out? Leave those people alone. Those people want doom in their face every Sunday. Let them have doom in their face every Sunday. I don't understand.
Gola says he plans to continue touring and working on more shows. Ditiro Silepe, Johannesburg.
And finally, a full fruit buffet has been laid out in Thailand, but the tasty treats are reserved for monkeys. Thousands of long-tailed monkeys have gorged themselves during the annual event that also attracts tourists.
Labori is commonly known as Monkey Province because humans and monkeys live alongside each other. It's so popular that it attracts thousands of tourists. Once a year, residents thank the monkeys with a massive fruit and vegetable feast for the influx of tourists. This year's event brought thousands of tourists, many of whom got to feed the monkeys. Unfortunately, it wasn't a memorable experience for everyone.
Sometimes just like a little bit, because one bit me yesterday, so I was surprised, but I guess it was just a bit one that was less kind, but the other was like really kind and friendly, so yeah, they're fun.
This year's event wasn't promoted as well because Thailand is still mourning the death of its king.
This year we are still in mourning because of the king's passing. Therefore we continued this festival in an appropriate manner.
The Monkey Buffet Festival has been described as one of the strangest festivals in the world.
Well, that's your entertainment news for tonight. After the break, Joel Guy has your weather forecast.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Weather Center. Here's what transpired on Sunday as we take a look at our latest satellite picture. We had fog patches creeping down the west coast. Mostly clear skies persisted over the western areas, and as expected we had thunderstorms popping up over the eastern sections, particularly over parts of the Free State, the northeastern areas of the Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal and the southern areas of the Mpumalanga province. Now it's going to be mostly dry for your Monday across the bulk of South Africa, but we could see a bit of drizzle over parts of the south coast, and passing showers will persist for the northeastern areas of the Eastern Cape, northern KwaZulu-Natal, pushing into the Mpumalanga Highveld. Mostly sunny skies for the western areas, but it's going to be sizzling hot once again for the northern parts of the Northern Cape, very hot over the eastern sections of KwaZulu-Natal. Now, KwaZulu-Natal is going to stay with passing thunder showers over the western areas, and temperatures hitting the 38-degree mark are forecast for Ladysmith, Ulundi and Richards Bay. We are going to see passing showers as well around Matatiele, light rain and drizzle for Port Alfred and Port Elizabeth, where a high of 23 is expected. Mostly sunny and warm to hot weather continues for the interior of the Western Cape. It's going to be partly cloudy along the coastal areas. Cape Town warming to a comfortable 25 degrees. Sunny and sizzling hot weather is forecast for much of the Northern Cape, Postmasburg and Kimberley hitting the 38-degree mark. We are also going to see clear blue skies over much of the Free State, Bloemfontein warming to a hot 36 degrees. A sunny and hot day is also forecast for the northwest, with temperatures in the mid to upper 30s forecast for much of the province. We stay with mostly fine weather across the Limpopo province, a warm 29 for the high in Polokwane. Isolated thunder showers will persist for the Mpumalanga Highveld areas, a hot 33 for the high in Mbombela. Gauteng is going to be mostly fine with temperatures hitting the 30-degree mark around Johannesburg. Then on Tuesday, we should see light rain and drizzle along the east coast and passing thunder showers around Mbombela. Then on Wednesday, it's going to be wet across eastern South Africa, mostly sunny and hot over the western sections.
Right, here's a recap of the top stories. Members of a Houghton community take matters into their own hands after an apparent drug overdose. The ANC's top brass is believed to be discussing whether or not President Jacob Zuma should go. Well, that's a wrap from the eNews Direct team.
Up next is your favorite Sunday comedy drama, Blackish.
To share your views, you can send an email to enewsdirect@etv.co.za.
Or chat to us on Twitter and Facebook at eNews Direct.
Until next time, cheers, good night.
Good night.